Okay, what I'm going to show you now is a way to use the Adobe Bridge to balance color in a number of images without actually having to open the images. What I do is imagine my clients generally have gone to a lot of trouble and effort to make sure that they paint their products a specific color, which they have determined they want them to be. So my job is to make sure when I give them photography of their products that the colors are accurate. And what I do is I shoot in their manufacturing facility. In this case, these shots are not, I suppose beautiful or hugely dramatic, but my clients make products and my job is to make them look good. And that's what I do. So in this particular case, in the first shot, I have placed a neutral gray card in the scene. And I'm going to show you how that works. Okay, so first of all, what I'm going to do is open just this one image in the raw processor by Command R. So the image is now opened in the Adobe RAW processor, and you can see the gray card here. Now when I put my mouse over the gray card, you can read the red, green, blue data right here. Okay, and you can see that a neutral gray, the red, the green, and the blue are all going to be exactly the same. That's the definition of a neutral gray, right? And you can see in this case they're close, but they're off a little bit. So I'm going to do a couple of things here. First of all, I have some settings that I have saved that I like that work for what I do that are a little different than these. And I can make whatever settings I want, and then I can go up to this little drop down here and I could save them. Now I already have some settings that I have saved, so I'm going to load settings, and it opens up the settings folder, and then here's my file that I want to use to tweak those settings. And I double click it, and you can see that now the settings have changed somewhat. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little white balance tool, which is the little eyedropper with gray in it. Now, whatever I click on, I'm telling the computer I want the red, the green, and the blue to be the same here. And here we go. I click on it. And you can see that, now they are completely neutral. Now this exposure looks a little dark to me, so I'm also going to make one other change. I'm going to increase the exposure slightly. Okay, when I've got it the way I want it, I click on Done. And that just saves these settings without actually opening the image. And you can see now the difference between these. This had a little bit too much yellow in it. So now what I can do is I can, with this image highlighted that I just corrected, I go up to Edit, and I click on Develop Settings, and I'm going to copy the Camera Raw settings that I've just created. All right, now I'm going to select these three images, and I don't have to open them. I can just go up to Edit, Develop Settings, and now we're going to paste the settings. And it's going to give me the choice of what exactly I want to paste. There's all these presets. I could do everything. I could do just white balance, all these other things that will just automatically check certain boxes here. Okay, I'm going to leave it the way it is and click OK. Now watch what happens. These are going to change their color is going to change as those settings are applied to the image. Now the way a raw file works is I'm not actually changing the data. I'm just attaching instructions sort of to the side of the file that tells Photoshop what I want to have happen to it. And this is a beginning of what we would call non-destructive editing, and it's a very powerful way to work. The next thing I would do is I would open these in the raw processor. Once again, I don't have to open this one because I'm not going to use it. So now to open these in the raw processor, once again, Command R. And all three of them open up here. Now, I already have the settings the way I want. In here I can do a number of things. I can open this up as a large file. My normal is a 12 megapixel. That's what my camera shoots. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to set this for 300, which is what I want. I could open this as 8-bit image or a 16-bit image. I'm going to leave it at 8. This allows me to select a number of from a number of different color spaces, and I'm going to be talking about color space later on. My selection is for Adobe RGB. So I'm going to say OK. I'm going to select all three images, and I'm going to say save them. And this gives me the options of saying where I'm going to save them, how I'm going to name them. I could save it as a digital negative, I can save it as a JPEG, I can save it as a TIFF, I can save it as a Photoshop. For what I generally do with my commercial clients, I prefer the Photoshop as my format. Okay? Now I'm not going to save these right now because I'm going to be moving on to show you something else. So that's how that works, and next time I'll be showing you how to do something very similar to that in Photoshop.